Hey everyone, Steven here, and today I'm reviewing the E5BT wireless gaming headset from EKSA. Like all of my headset reviews, I use the built-in microphone for the entire video with no edits in post outside of gain control, so you can hear what this sounds like. Now with this headset, I have noticed like a grainy sound in playback. I don't know if that has to do with maybe some of the other peripherals that I have running off of the 2.4 gigahertz channel. I am using the USB Type-C dongle for this, but I've also tested this with the regular USB adapter, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. It may also just be playback that I'm hearing inside of the headset that isn't actually going to be there when I use a different headset to check all the audio on this. With that being said though, I'll be covering the specs first before getting into what I like, potentially don't like, and the gray area before wrapping the video up. So let's go ahead and get into the specs. The E5 features 50mm drivers with a 20 ohm impedance, 20 Hz to 20 kHz frequency response, and a sensitivity of 113 decibels. This features a 2.4 GHz connection as well as a Bluetooth option, with the 2.4 GHz offering 35 hours of playback time and the Bluetooth offering 52 hours. The 2.4 GHz connection offers 30 milliseconds ultra-low latency performance, and this has a range of 15 meters. This will charge from 0 to full for the battery in roughly 3 hours. The microphone is a condenser mic with a omnidirectional pickup pattern, a sensitivity of 42 decibels plus or minus 3 decibels, and an impedance of 2.2 kiloohms. This can be connected via the USB dongle to a PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, or PC. This can be used via Bluetooth to mobile devices and PCs, and then this can be connected to an Xbox and other consoles with the audio cable. Inside of the box, you'll get the headset, USB-A to C adapter, Type-C charging cable, 3.5mm audio cable, quick start guide, and user manual. For physical features, everything is on the left side of the headset. Starting at the top, you have the 2.4/Bluetooth switch. Then underneath that, you have the power button, mute switch button, volume scroll wheel, and Type-C charging port. The microphone is on the left side as well, and it is a flip down mic with the ability to bend a little bit into the position that you want it in. There is no windscreen on this, so you may notice some popping or air in my audio here, which is what you can expect when using this depending on the position that it actually will sit in. The body of this is almost entirely plastic, which makes it overall lighter, coming in at 226 grams, which is roughly half a pound. But this is going to be more rigid with the headband, and then for the ear pads, in terms of the swivel, it is a little bit more rigid there as well. Now the ear cushions themselves are over-ear style and have a pleather type material on them, which means they can get a little hot and sweaty with longer sessions, and these are regular foam filled, which provides a decent amount of comfort. The headband has a decent amount of height and flex to it, but there's only a small amount of foam at the very top that doesn't span the entire headband, which means it can get uncomfortable potentially for some people. Last, the price here is $39.99, so right at $40, making it a very affordable headset, and that's what I'll be judging this off of, as I can't judge this in the same way that I would a headset that is 2 to 5 times that price. Shifting over now to what I like about this headset, I'm going to start with what is most important here, which is audio quality, and here it is really good. Now you're not getting any software with this to make any adjustments, but you can use other apps to do that if you want, and that's kind of expected at this price point because generally you just don't find software here. They are expecting that you will potentially be using any type of built-in software, whether that's within a console, on your PC, within a game. They're just kind of leaning towards you're going to do that, and so they don't need to make software here. So in terms of the audio quality, I think this is kind of a middle of the road approach. So it does have decent bass and treble, but nothing over the top. To me, if you're adjusting audio and you can kind of give like +1 or -1 to bass and treble, it feels like this is +1 on bass and then treble was left alone. Next, you have great connection options when it comes to this. So you actually have every connection option with this. The only downside potentially is when you're looking at like the Xbox. You're going to need to use that 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in order to connect it. This is common with even the highest end headsets that I review, where they may cover all the bases, but then you'll find with like the Xbox more specifically, it only works with a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So I don't know if there's like some codecs that you have to pay for or whatever it may be. Xbox just seems different, because usually with the PlayStation 4 or 5, I just find that most headsets, they're covered. You can use it wirelessly, but when it comes to the Xbox, you have to buy one specifically that is wireless for that console. And then it may do something like a PC or something like that, but I just have found that difference. So in terms of connection options, this offers everything. Again, a little bit different for the Xbox there, but that is the same thing that I find on extremely high-end headsets. So you are covered for your phone, your PC, the Nintendo Switch, tablets, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, but then again, we can use that audio jack when it comes to the Xbox Series X. Next, I think the mic here, especially considering this price tag, is actually pretty decent. Like, in terms of using it for chat, like, you're gonna be covered. If you're gonna record videos like I'm doing now, yeah, it's not something that you would use to exclusively make content or anything like that, but that's not its intended use. Its intended use is for chat within games, and here it does a really good job with that. Last, this is a light headset. In fact, it's one of the lightest headsets that I've reviewed, but the trade out there is that it feels tight with the headband. So here, if you have a larger head, I think that would be something to consider. So with longer play sessions, you may start to notice that pressure building on your head. Me, about the 45 to 60 minute mark, I do notice it a lot more. And that's actually going to bring us to the negatives here. I think it has more to do with the overall fit and comfort of this. So this is a smaller headband cushion that does impact how it feels on your head, and that feeds into those longer play sessions, because at a certain point I do notice that pressure on my head just because it is more narrow with where that cushion is. If you have a smaller head, then this isn't going to be an issue for you at all, but for anybody else out there, again, you wear like a larger baseball cap, that is something to be mindful of. Next with this, the swivel on the ear pads, it's tight. So it doesn't automatically just go into the best resting position on your head. You actually have to swivel and move it there. It's just, overall, this thing is very rigid. And because it is more rigid, that does lend itself to more pressure on your head as you wear it for those longer play sessions. I think if it just had some more movement to it, it would feel more comfortable, and with that, with those long play sessions, it wouldn't be an issue. But here, I would definitely say that's something I would want people to be mindful of, and I think a way that they could remedy this would be to, one, allow for more swivel of those ear pads, the ear cushions, because with that, it just would fall into a better resting position automatically. And then if we added more foam cushioning at the top, and maybe even traded that out for maybe some memory foam or something like that. The hard part with me just saying that is, it's one, not that easy to just be like, oh yeah, we'll just change this. But also that means that this thing is going to increase in price, and they're trying to keep the cost down so that they can retail it for a lower asking price. So I get part of this. I think there's some stuff here that if we did get it adjusted, it would make this overall more comfortable. And so for, again, those long play sessions, it wouldn't be something where maybe you're getting it so somebody's head starts to ache. Like at the hour mark, again, I notice this a lot, and then I really just want to take the headset off. And that's going to wrap it up for the negatives here. Shifting over to the gray area. These are things that you may or may not care about. I'm going to start with no windscreen on the mic. Now, listening back to the audio, I don't notice a lot of pops or anything like that because the mic is actually to the left of my mouth. It's not directly in front of it, so it'd be really hard to pick up on that stuff. So I think part of it is like they just have a good design for placement there. So you don't really need it, but some people, maybe you are noticing that and you would want that windscreen. You don't have one in the box or anything like that. It's just not an option. So it would be nice to have that in there for some people if they wanted it. And then last, no RGB lights is the only other thing I could think of. But they put more effort into the audio quality here. So you may look at this price tag and then be like, well, this other one is a similar price tag, but they have RGB lighting on it. You'd want to know what the audio quality is first, because if the audio quality is bad on that other headset, but they have RGB lighting, you're not looking at RGB lighting on a headset. It doesn't really matter necessarily there. The audio quality is what matters most. Here they have solid audio quality. So I think that's a trade out and a gamble that they're willing to make. Like, yes, it may look more attractive when you're scrolling through headsets that you may consider purchasing, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't have good audio, you're going to be very upset with that headset, even if it has RGB lighting. Next, this has the audio jack cable, but it is to a Type C other end. So it's not an audio cable to audio cable in terms of what you're finding on both ends. It's literally like that 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on one end, and then on the other end it is a USB Type C cable. And on that cable, the way that they've molded it, it actually comes in a little bit. So if you're trying to use their charging cable, which is a USB Type A to C cable, with that, by the way, the length is pretty short, so you don't have a lot of reach with that. But with that indention that this has, where it kind of tapers in a little bit, you can't just take another USB Type-C cable and necessarily plug it into this. If that kind of molding that's around that end is too big, it will not fit here because of how narrow the opening is on the headset. Now, that is going to be dependent upon the USB Type-C cable that you may use with this. So again, if you want something that is longer, just keep that in mind. This isn't something that's going to be applicable across the board, but if you notice that the molding on the USB Type-C cable you typically use is a little bit bigger, it may not actually fit here. Last is going to be the noise that I'm getting in terms of a pickup with a microphone in Premiere Pro. I do want to say I don't get that noise with any other audio. So if I'm using this for game chat, I do not actually get that noise. I don't know what's going on specifically with Premiere Pro, and I am keeping in mind that I actually have my wireless keyboard in front of me, a wireless mouse. I have a Qi charging mouse pad. I also have my user interface for audio to the left of me with the larger XLR cables, and then I have an amp on the back here, and then I have my speakers, I have my other wireless gear that's connected to the PC. There's just a lot going on here, and I think that's partly to blame for this interference, potentially. I don't know that 100%, but that is what it kind of sounds like, which is why this is in the gray area and not an outright negative, because one, I don't think anybody's just going to be recording content with this in Premiere Pro, and I haven't noticed this anywhere else. Again, in game chat, I actually haven't noticed this, but I would want people to be mindful of the fact that this may be there if you're trying to record content. In no other instance have I had this issue, but I do find it a bit odd. I am leaning more towards the fact that I have so much going on with my PC that really is what's causing that noise though. So that's going to wrap this video up. If you guys have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure to answer that for you there. I think EKSA has a solid headset here with a really good price tag for anybody that's looking to just get something that isn't going to break the bank. The thing I would want people to consider is just the rigidness of the headset and it being kind of a little bit tight on the head. So if you, again, wear a larger baseball cap, I would keep that in mind here. If you don't, then this thing is going to be a great fit for you, and it shouldn't be an issue at all. I'm going to have a link for this in the description if you want to pick it up. Definitely look for sales because they usually have some pretty good deals, especially around the holiday season here. And that is it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. And if you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.